Greetings, colleagues. I am Natalie Rogers. Maureen O'Hara, thank you so much for the beautiful introduction. I really appreciate your acknowledging my activism as a feminist working to empower women and gender and racial equality. You have inspired me along these lines as well. First, I want to say it's a delight to be receiving the Carl Rogers Award in Humanistic Psychology. There is a little smile on my face and a twinkle in my eye, just knowing and feeling that my dad is up there looking down on us saying, "Hey, I'm proud of you, dear daughter." This also gives me the opportunity to say publicly how very fortunate I am to be the daughter of Helen and Carl Rogers. I grew up in a loving home where my mother, who was an artist and a very warm, affectionate person, nurtured my creativity. I'm also grateful that I had a father who was kind, gentle, and interested in and supportive of me. We had exciting times working together as we, along with other colleagues, created what has come to be known as the Person-Centered Approach workshops. Over 7 summers during the 1980s, we co-facilitated 10 intensive workshops. We also worked in Japan together as well. It is really an honor that my work in the expressive arts is being acknowledged by Humanistic Psychology. My mission has been to create a program where each individual uses his or her creativity to nurture and develop deep healing and life-enhancing practices. That is, to become one's authentic self. Along the way, we create a cross-cultural environment promoting mutual understanding and peace. Expressive arts is a new field. It's about 35 years old. The work I have developed has become a special field within the expressive arts domain. Not all expressive art therapy or practice is person-centered. That's why I believe that our 450-hour certificate training program is so important. We teach person-centered methods experientially, and it is the basic foundation for our group and individual work as professionals. As students tell us all the time and time again, combining the values and the practices of the person-centered approach with the deep explorations using the expressive arts is life-transforming. For those of you not familiar with the expressive arts, I can summarize it this way. By definition, expressive art is multimodal. We express inner feelings through outer forms. We discover how we feel through these media. It is using the intuitive, emotional, and imaginal aspect of self through movement, visual art, sound, and writing. We allow the unconscious to emerge through the arts. The arts are a nonverbal language. They provide access to one's inner world that often cannot be expressed in words. The images speak back to us, giving us messages about who we are and what we need to do to become whole. The process of creating is as important as the product. The process itself is healing. And while releasing these feelings through art, the feelings themselves become transformed. I have developed what I call the creative connection concept. Using several expressive arts processes in sequence without words stimulates our right brain or our creative, intuitive hemisphere. One art form stimulates and enhances the next art experience, thus encouraging us to go deeply into the unconscious. Here is such a sequence. Here a young mother who is using movement to discover how she is feeling. She says, I'm not sure how I feel, so I will start with color. She says, I feel like there's a red ball in my stomach. She continues on another piece of paper, and she discovers that she is really angry. Then she says, the group listens to my anger and my need to be mothered. Then some group members actually spend a little time holding her and mothering her. So after being mothered, she discovers a new flame within. This sequence is an example of the creative connection process. Each art form brought her deeper into her unconscious, allowing her to express new aspects of herself. As facilitators and group members, we have listened with empathy and positive regard. We did not analyze or interpret her art. We did not give her advice as to how to live her life. We understand that the process is healing. What she just lived through with us is healing. Over time, each group member empowers herself and her own creativity. I have written 2 books explaining our work. The first book shows how person-centered expressive arts is used in individual psychotherapy. My second book gives specifics on using this work to enhance group process. Here are 2 images from individual counseling. In this first one, the woman says she is depressed and has no mouth to speak. I think this is typical in the 1970s. Then, as many women did, she discovered her anger and rage at being a second-class citizen. Here, the nonverbal expression helped communicate the depth of the feeling to the counselor. As is often the case, after anger is expressed, a sense of joy and freedom emerges. Sometimes numinous experiences of light. When we have groups, in the group setting, we often start with using movement for play and fun and getting acquainted. People paint simultaneously. This lets each person go on his or her own journey separately, yet within the supportive group context. Here, a Palestinian and an Israeli woman have a nonverbal conversation with clay, a nonverbal conversation. This took place in a workshop we held in Israel to facilitate cross-cultural understanding. My passion has always been twofold: to facilitate peace and understanding between individuals and between cultures. I had the good fortune to work in Russia, Japan, South Korea, Latin America, and most European countries. I feel very grateful for the person-centered legacy I have carried, and I hope the integration of the expressive arts into the person-centered approach continues as a healing process for the world. Thanks again for honoring me and my work. I hope you will visit me on my websites.